As energy needs continue to rise in Wisconsin, lawmakers are looking to nuclear as a potential solution. Our Wisconsin State Capitol Bureau Chief Vanessa Kelson breaks down the latest bill working its way through our state legislature now and why energy is top of mind for so many.
Nuclear energy. There's bipartisan support to potentially make it easier to produce here in Wisconsin. And as new energy-hungry data centers and other rising energy needs appear, lawmakers say nuclear could be part of the solution.
Particles essentially bounce back and forth between
Realta Fusion, a UW-Madison startup in Stoughton, is looking to power up the nuclear energy industry. Unlike fission, traditional nuclear power that splits atoms apart, fusion combines them, the same way the sun is powered.
I think, first of all, we need to recognize that energy overall is important.
Kieran Furlong is the co-founder. He says nuclear fusion is the future.
Right, but Detroit was in the 1950s to the automobile, right, and was the center of that industry. That prize is there for the taking in fusion. Furlong
hopes this prototype fusion reactor will be ready for commercial use by the 2030s.
I really think people in Wisconsin are realizing that, we kind of have a diamond in the rough here.
Fusion or fission, nuclear is getting support. This month, Republican lawmaker Shay Sortwell introduced a bill to make it cheaper to build a new nuclear power facility via help like tax credits.
Thankfully, I believe the nuclear renaissance is here.
But why care? In short, the cost of your monthly energy bill depends on our energy supply.
Wisconsin needs to rapidly increase its energy production.
Governor Tony Evers' office tells me they haven't reviewed this bill yet, but Evers writes, quote, investing in clean energy solutions like innovative nuclear options could be a game changer for Wisconsin.
I think it's a hopeful story.
This past summer, Governor Tony Evers signed bills supporting nuclear energy into law. That includes a $2 million study to find the best location to place a nuclear fusion power plant in the state. From the Wisconsin State Capitol, Vanessa Kelson.
Now, 12 states have restrictions on nuclear power facilities. That includes Illinois and Minnesota. Minnesota actually has an outright ban on the construction of new nuclear power facilities. Illinois allows them if they are approved by the state legislature.